Maybe. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Cold Reads. As usual, the Hangout thing goes live right as I think it's not going to. I am Laura Nicole, and this show is brought to you by, what is it brought to you by? Oh, Resonant Moon, Audiobook Solutions. I am clearly not awake, but thankfully my cast members are. So yesterday we had a little bit of a technical snafu where my computer decided to go kamikaze on me and give me the blue screen of death. Hopefully that's not going to happen today. Fingers crossed. So before we get started with introducing today's cast, I do want to give a big shout out to everybody who was on yesterday's cast. So Emilie, Timm, Alan, Genre, and Maestro Morty, thank you so much for being a part of the show. I look forward to having you back. I know Morty is going to be on the second episode for today. You guys get to have two whole episodes today. One of which is going to be finishing up what we were supposed to do last night. It's going to be good. It'll be worth it. I promise. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce my cast once again. First of all, the man who taught me everything I need to know about voices, Alan Spencer.
Hi, how you doing? This is Alan Spencer, and I'm glad to be here.
Great, and tell people what you do.
I'm a system administrator by day, gamer, and audio drama writer by night, and, well, you know, typical fly-by-night kind of guy.
Awesome. And I should probably tell you guys, this is not the only thing I do. I QC audio. I do podcasts. Well, I edit podcasts, and I also am a researcher for an educational company. So I get to stalk teachers. That's my job. That's the bad description of my job. But anyway, second on my cast list is a newcomer to the show, but definitely not a newcomer to podcasting, Mark Kalita.
Hey gang, happy Friday.
Yeah, so Mark, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
I am Mark Kalita. I am one of the founding members of Broken Sea Audio Productions. And when I'm not recording cool stuff like this, my day job involves writing creative web copy, as well as the occasional scripts and commercials for a major corporation. I also write the occasional fashion blogs, believe it or not.
Interesting. Well, actually, I do believe that based on some of the photos that you post.
Yes.
And the amazing duo of Emilie and Timm Gillick.
Hi.
Hi. Tell people who you are and what you do.
My name is Emilie, and during the day I do not talk like a valley girl. Hello, how's it going? I am an insurance administrator. I stare at a lot of reports and do a lot of auditing. And I'm also co-founder of Circus-13 Productions, which encompasses voice acting, cosplay photography, webcomics, etc., etc.
Awesome.
And I'm Timm, the Jester Gillick, and I'm the other co-founder of Circus-13, and I do most of the writing for all those said activities, as well as taking the cosplay pictures. By day, I'm a copy paster at Caterpillar. I just move content from one page to another or one document to another, and that's 99% of my job. I'd much rather do this stuff all day, but at the moment, that's not possible.
Well,
so I have to suffer through the day job to be able to afford to be able to do stuff like this.
You know, and we got to do what we got to do. I don't think anybody blames us. I think this is really cool because we have a whole BSAP alumni crew, which is really neat. And I'm very excited to have you all here because, so one of the things that I like about doing this cold reads is that you're getting a live interaction with people. When I've acted with these fabulous people before, I only did my own part, and then it was the producer's job to cut and paste and put us all together and make it sound like we're all in the same room. now we get to actually play off of each other, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's go over who's playing who. Faja, Papa Spence, Papa Spence, as genre has called you, and I really like it. You are going to reprise your role as Goblo because you are a method actor, and I really liked the picture that you sent me. If you are not following us on the Facebook group, you should, just for that picture. Timm, I am going to have you play both Eric and Baltier. You haven't played Baltier before, but he's basically older brother kind of type. So I don't think you really need to affect your voice too much for that. And then Eric, as we all know, is kind of the smooth operator. So he's got a I guess a refined touch to his voice, but you do it so well. Emilie, you're gonna play all the female roles except for mine. So,
okay.
So Vervain, the random fae who likes pink, but Alina and Marka. And then Mark, you are going to play Jack and Turek. Jack, as I stated before the show, is about 19-ish years old. He has been possessed by this curse that he has enacted because he thought his beloved Alina was executed. And so he's trying to fix what he did wrong by taking on the curse himself. And this curse is kind of maniacal. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I know how you like to. I know how you like to play the bad guy parts. I mean, who doesn't really?
I don't get to do it often, so when I do, it's a treat, and I really get to. I have fun letting loose.
Yes, excellent. And then you're also going to play Turek. Now, Turek is a goblin, so he has a bit of a harshness to his voice. He has lived in the Elderwood for a long time, and a lot of people in the Elderwood have a very old syntax. So they speak in an old English kind of fashion. However, he has been watching a lot of police procedurals since the human world and the magic world have collided. So he tries to throw that stuff in. Sometimes it works and sometimes it does not. He's very well informed. He just doesn't talk a lot until it's absolutely necessary, like right now.
Hey.
So that is everybody in this episode written on my handy dandy post-it. If 3M wants to sponsor me, I will not say no. And so without further ado, we're going to start on page 2 of the script. Let me go ahead and share it. And present to everyone. And all right. So a couple of paragraphs down is where we're going to start. Alan, do you know where we're starting?
Yep.
Good. All right, here we go. Goblo tended to the girl's hand and gave Jack an apprising look.
Stonebriar, we should check to see if the potion will work. Take a sample of the boy's blood and test it. If the potion does not counteract with it, we may have to wait.
Seeing that Marka had several other vials outlined in the pocket of her cloak, I left Eric and Goblo next to the 2 young ones for the moment. Say again?
Is it up to me? I heard you cutting out quite a bit there.
It is your line. Pay attention, okay. Jack.
How funny. Pay attention, Jack.
I could hear Eric saying.
If you survive this, it will be important for you to know about the history of our people as well.
The further away I got from them, the more indistinct the story became. Marka, I said. The initiate turned and handed me a vial. Her gray fingers were warm. If I remembered correctly, that meant that she was scared. It will be all right, Marka. This will work. Her great black eyes met mine. I was more telling her my hope rather than fact, but it seemed to be enough to give the troll hope. She looked to her vein more intensely. To my surprise, the old Fey woman spoke.
She says that she will have a sample for you once you've gotten the boy's blood.
She spoke to you? I said, somewhat dumbfounded.
Marka has tried to speak to you, but you're too thick-headed to get her messages. Now stop dilly-dallying and get to it. We do not have time for it.
I sped back to the group that was kneeling around Jack.
So, each race essentially chose their own form. Later on, the other races came to the outer realm. Even the fairies were born of the land, but the first 7 fashioned themselves.
Goblo said. Pretty cool story, huh? I said as I went to Jack's hand. Eric, hold this for me. I was only distracted for a moment, but then Jack had me in his fist. He squeezed and laughed in a voice that none of us had heard until now.
You think that you can stop me?
The boy pulled against his restraints, and the ones who were holding the chains were taken aback at his sudden strength. One of the satyrs stomped his cloven hoof twice, and the goblins started chanting. Hold the dark back, chain will not break. Hold the dark back, chain will not break, in a syncopated rhythm. A searing heat coursed through my newly healed arm. So, Death, we meet again, I thought. Shall we foxtrot or tango?
You were supposed to be the catalyst for change, Beatrix Stonebriar. It was to you that I was going to take root. You have the power to bring the 2 worlds together so that both can be destroyed. Only when all is lost for all races will you all conform. Only when all is lost to the races will they all finally see how petty their differences are.
I could tell he meant to go on with his monologue, but something stopped him. His hand loosened around me. When I was finally able to get free, I could see his eyes rolling back. The source of his lack of oxygen came from Alina. Surprisingly, she held his fingers on either side of his throat, and I could see the boy's pulse slowing.
Good thinking,
said Goblo. It was the most modern thing I had ever heard him say. He dismissed my quizzical look with a wave of his hand.
Quickly now, take a sample of his blood so we can get started. The girl has rendered him unconscious, but I do not know how long that will last.
We worked as quickly as we could to get enough blood and get Marka working on the sample. Did I mention I hate waiting? In the crime lab, remember, there is always something else to do while tests are running. But here, there was nothing else to do but wait. So that's what we did. The rest of the non-essential beings were shooed back into the hollow to get to their related projects. Some of them were looking into ways to reverse the discoloration of the wood. I heard one of the fairies say,
"But it is such a nice shade of pink. Do we really have to change it?"
I repressed the urge to throw something at her. We all kept our eyes on Marka and the other 2 Fae around her, weaving spells around the potion. Goblo answered my unspoken question.
They are casting a congealing spell. The different bloods do not mix well together, so they will need a little help.
I nodded. That makes sense. Look, Marka has finished.
She doesn't look too happy about it.
Eric added. Indeed, she did not look happy at all. The frown was evident, even her tusks seemed lower. Vervain pulled her fingers through her hair.
It should have worked.
I thought about all that had happened. My best thinking was done aloud. Okay, what do we know about the curse?
Or Wolfsbane.
Alina started. No, we have to start from the beginning. What was the first thing that you did to start the process?
We had to mark the catalyst for the change. We took the 7 tulip heads and laid them on the Stonebriar.
That's it. Everyone looked at me like I had 2 heads, but I kept them in the loop. It was hard to keep my logic from going faster than I could think. Me, I'm the missing component. I was supposed to be the one to take the curse into me. Turek finally spoke. He had been quiet, which startled me. He had been quiet for so long.
Well, that's great, Trix, but you didn't drink it. The boy did. And I doubt that you'd want him to vomit the stuff back up to drink it.
I gagged a little. Graphic, Turek. But no, we cannot undo this part. But I can try something. Marka. I went over to the initiate. Where's the sample? She indicated a small bowl of swirling liquid. It was partially pink and the other part green. I didn't really want to know. Sorry. I didn't really want to know what turned all the other blood green like sludge. The essence of fairy dust, the essence of a fairy is in the dust we create. I cast a small conjuring spell to bring out my own dust. I didn't want it to be overpowering. If I was right, I was going to need all of my strength to help Jack. Slowly, I lowered my self-contained ball of dust into the bowl. For a moment, the ball just waited there in the middle of the swirling liquids. Finite, I said, and the ball dispersed and spread through the concoction. Again, we waited. The bowl bubbled, slowly at first, then picking up in intensity. We all backed up a little. When the bubbling stopped, Margaret and I stepped forward to look into the bowl. I could see her smiling reflection in the pool of clear liquid next to my own. Then I could hear her in my head.
It worked. What should we do now?
I answered her in thought. Let's pour it on the ground and see if it also works there. She did as I suggested and poured the clear liquid onto the patch of pink earth. I could feel the gasps and sighs of relief in my bones. Sure enough, when the dirt and grass absorbed the potion, the fluorescent pink color relinquished its hold of the blades of grass, and they returned to their natural green color. It cannot be as easy as that, I was thinking aloud. I was thinking aloud still, but from behind me, I could hear Vervain scolding me.
Not everything has to be a momentous challenge, girl. Now hurry up and get to it before the boy wakes up. He's already starting to stir.
She was right, of course. Jack's eyes began to flutter open, his face now completely pink. As he opened his eyes, they were no longer his own. The entire look of him was foreign. It was another being altogether wearing his skin.
Jack,
Alina said hopefully. That woke the creature up. He shot out of her lap and stood, pulling hard on his chains. The bright rose-colored eyes spied the spot that we had healed, and he bellowed.
What have you done to my beautiful land?
What needs to be done? I said. I stayed out of reach and hoped that the ones holding his chains would not let their strength give out. Apparently, some of the Fae who had gathered began casting over them. Thank goodness they had the forethought to do that. Change has to be forged by those who see it for what it is. It should never be forced upon any sentient beings.
But such drastic force is needed. You are fighting a losing battle. And if you think that magics and humans can ever coexist, look at you all. You can barely keep your own racial difference at bay long enough to work to defeat me. Fear has brought you together. Fear didn't bring the watch together.
Turek said from behind me. Eric joined us.
We came together by choice because we saw what we could lend to each other. And new members are willing to join as well for the next generation,
said Baltier. I hadn't even heard him come out of the hollow, but there he was, standing with his sword drawn and raised to the sky. Behind him, Valena, standing tall and defiant as ever. We are the beginnings of change. Change is conquered by hardship, not catastrophe, I said, trying to draw Jack out. If everyone who is witness to the crimes against other races are wiped out, how will future generations learn from those mistakes? If history is erased, what is to keep it from being repeated? The bright eyes that were frighteningly foreign softened. I could see Jack start to come through.
Jack.
Alina called again. She had taken the potion from Marka and put it into a cup.
If you love me, drink this. Drink it quickly before the beast takes a hold of you again.
Red tears streamed down the boy's face. He was in so much pain.
I cannot keep it back for long. He burns with hate. Quickly.
Dun, dun, dun! Yay!
Dun-dun-dun.
We made it!
Yay!
Okay, so that was exciting. So, what did y'all think? I know I was kind of reading fast because I was worried about technical issues.
I was kind of scanning ahead a little bit to sort of see the context of where the character was, you know, as far as so I could kind of sort of set up what sort of tone he would be using based on the other people around him, so it kind of comes together organically.
Right. And that's a thing that I've heard other voice actors like Veronica Jaguar does that. She was on the show a couple weeks ago. Any other observations or anything like that?
For me personally, I gotta tell you though, it was really interesting, that really drastic character shift suddenly.
Yes.
To just go from Jack to Turek like right away.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! So I hopefully that sounded okay.
It sounded great.
Cool.
I will tell you that I really like to put a lot of motion in my character. I like to act it out like physically as well as like vocally. This time I didn't get as much of a chance to do it because I had to pop in between characters that I was not familiar with.
Yeah. You guys can't see me when I'm reading because I'm sharing the script, but like when I'm in the audio booth, I do use my hands a lot, and like I it's hard for me because I'm sitting, and normally when I'm recording, I'm standing, but this is how I can do this format. Dad, you were going to say something.
Me? No. Although maybe, you know, I might look around for a couple of chopsticks so I can use my hands.
I'll get a couple carrots, you know.
Yeah, there you go.
Pencils, carrots, you know, thing. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being on tonight. I want to go ahead and go down the line and give everybody a chance to state where people can find you online. And we'll start with Timm and Emilie.
Good.
You can find us at www.circus13productions.com, and you'll find links to every other place that you can find us on the web. I do want to mention that we do have new auditions posted for an original show.
Dragon Wolf.
Dragon Wolf.
He's a half Mohawk Indian, half Japanese, and he does like Indian shaman magic with a lot of samurai code and Bushido code and whatnot. And he works as like a private investigator.
I approve.
That sounds cool.
And what are the so they can all be found at Circus-13 Productions.com?
Yes.
All right, cool. And Mark, where
my home base is brokensea.com. However, if you were to Google me, you would probably find several dozen other places that I occasionally hang out at, including Circus-13 and Darker Projects, and coming soon, Eric Busby Presents, and a whole bunch of different places. I've been at this for a little while.
fantastic. And Faja, Papa Spence.
You can find most of my work over at Broken Sea Audio Productions. I heartily encourage everybody to go check out a boatload of different shows over there. It's awesome, really great work, and we have a new work that's coming out very soon. There's auditions still up if you want to get your audition tape into Broken Sea for the new coming show called The Thorn Chronicles. So get those auditions in early.
And
it's a very cool show. I've gotten a sneak preview at the scripts for all of them, and it's definitely worth auditioning for and becoming a part of. This is going to be a really neat little mini-series.
Yeah, and I can't recommend auditioning for groups like Circus-13, Broken Sea, Darker Projects. I can't recommend it enough because that's, you know, when people ask me, how did you get started in voice acting? That's how I got started. Well, technically, Dave Subkoyak talked my dad into doing some audio stuff, and then my dad said, hey, you speak German, come and do a German voice for Johnny Quest, and then it went from there. But doing work for these great productions that are free, these are all volunteers that are doing this out of the love, out of their love for audio. You know, this is the best place to get started, and a lot of these people have been in this format for many, many years. I know I joined back in 2005 or 6, and I'm the baby of this group. So so yeah, definitely I would recommend to everybody and anybody to go and audition for these shows and any other auditions you see on these sites. So with that being said, I should probably say where you can find me online. You can find information about Resonant Moon Audiobook Solutions at resonantmoon.com. We provide audio services such as quality control for audiobooks, for podcasts. I do some editing for audiobooks and podcasts. I am not taking any narration jobs right now, but I will once I finish this major project that I'm undertaking. And you can find me online at Twitter at Nicole Audio. You can also be a part of our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/cold reads. And if you would like to be a part of the cast, if you would like to write some short stories, September is coming. And I feel like I'm part of Game of Thrones now. And that's when I'm going to start taking submissions for short stories to be what we're going to do on the show. So you can send me an email or join the group and send me a message there. My email is lauranicoleaudio@gmail.com. If you want spoilers for the story, you want to find out how it ends and just can't wait, you can go to Amazon and purchase the book on either e-format or paperback. If you end up going to a convention that I'm at, I will totally have you give you a signed version if you want. Links are all in the show notes for both my stuff and for my talented cast. This work is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 international license. That means that you can download it, you can share it, you can repost it, just don't change it. It is perfect the way it is, just like you. Make sure that you link back to this webpage and subscribe. I get super excited when people subscribe to the channel. You guys don't even know. I'm the biggest fangirl in the world. So if I get fans, I become my fans' fangirls. And you guys all know that's true. Like, people who know me know that's true. So thank you so much again to my fantastic cast. And I will give you all the chance to say good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
That
Good
was
night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
See,
Good night,
normally
Gracie.
they normally do that in unison. And we will actually be back in 1 hour with the end of chapter 17. See y'all later.